who just joined us.
Hey guys, sorry, Dominic Pittis. Sorry, it's been a while. I saw Wally call me this morning, and I was in the middle of a team workout. Hold on, let me turn my camera on for you guys here. I was in the middle of a team workout, and then decided to see if you guys were here, and sure enough, you are. So,
really good to see you.
Yeah, see you guys. Well, Peter, I don't think we've met. I'm sure we've maybe crossed paths. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm in the States. I'm in a little state called Connecticut, part of New England. And my history is coaching-wise, prep school in the States for for 12 plus years. ACHA hockey, which is the club hockey, for 7 years. And just recently retired. I say recently, it's been 3 years now. Time flies. I was an NCAA hockey coach in Connecticut, and now I do color commentary for that team with the broadcasts.
Oh, great! Yeah, I'm in the States as well. I give you a little bit of my background. I played for a bit, half in North America and some in half in Switzerland for a while, and then got into coaching with one of my former coaches in the Flames organization for a while, and then moved down to Stockton, California with their farm team in American League, and then ended up taking over a prep school program in Stockton, St. Mary's, and so yeah, I've just been trying to make ends meet. Started a girls program. I have 3 girls that play, and that was part of it, was to be able to start a program. And so we've got a girls program and a boys program, and we've played some events in the CSSHL in Canada, up in Canada, and then we do play some in the States. We've been to the Naha tournament with the girls, mostly with the girls. We'll go in the States. Naha with the girls. We went to the Rock City in Rochester, and we've had a couple girls graduate. One's playing at RIT, and the other one's playing at Nazareth. So we're just
so one of the girls is playing at Naz.
Yeah, my daughter.
Oh, so that's awesome. So we have a mutual. Well, I'm not sure if he's a mutual friend of yours yet, because he's a head coach there, Chris Baudo.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of time for him.
Chris and I coached at the gunnery school together for 12 years.
Wait, and so that was in Connecticut that you guys go together? Yeah. No, she's there. She's a freshman there this year, and she made the dean's list. She's in nursing in Nazareth, and she made the dean's list in nursing. And their team, they've got a really competitive team, and he does a great job. I'm able to watch his practices on Live Barn, so I'm always I'm able to. He does a good job there, and his emotional intelligence is so high, and I think it has to be if you're going to be coaching girls collegiately, any level anyways. But yeah, he's my daughter. He was one of the main reasons why she chose to go there, just because of it's small sample size, but she had a good feeling of his personality and that. So
yeah, he's a good human for sure. What years were you in Stockton?
So I was there. So when the first year it was there, so it would have been 2015, maybe 2015 to right after the pandemic. So 2020, I think 2021 was my last year there with I had Ryan Huska was my head coach, and then Cale McLean was my head coach there. They're both up with Calgary now. But yeah, we had some pretty good teams there. They had like Rasmus Anderson and Manjapani were playing as rookies. They were good. They were really good as rookies, actually. They were solid. Dylan Dubé, I mean, he's kind of whatever's happened with him, but yeah, there were some good players there.
Yeah, well, I had a boy that I coached at Pee Wee's who he played at Stockton, but it was like 09 and 10. So it was,
yeah, I would have been there. Or no,
you,
09, 10. Oh, sorry, that was the East Coast League. Yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
he played there. He played there back then.
Yeah. That, and I mean, I think that they took the success that the East Coast League team was having from an attendance standpoint, because they were selling the rink out. There was like they had averaged 5,000-6,000, and they thought they were going to parlay that with the American League team without having to do any of the work as far as continuing the customer, relations, and that didn't work out so well. They obviously moved him back to Calgary. So
Sure.
sorry, guys.
Well, it's good. It's a small world. I'm gonna definitely text Chris later and tell him that we met.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. If you got hard time, let me know. I got some stories I can tell you.
Dom, I got to ask you, just for the people that might be listening, you made the point of that coach's emotional intelligence and the importance of it in female hockey. I'm gathering it's important in male hockey, but not as popular or not as common. Can you talk to that, the emotional intelligence side of coaching and female hockey, and how it could be more beneficial to all coaches?
Yeah. Well, I think it's. I think it's. I think even on the men's side, it's super important as well. I mentioned Cale McLean was one of the guys that I worked under in Stockton, and now he's in Calgary. And he has very, very high emotional intelligence. And again, emotional intelligence to me just means that he's very aware of the people that are around, and trying to include all of them, and trying to make sure that they're heard, and that they've that they have some say. I mean, obviously he's the boss and everything else, but I feel that he was very, very thoughtful in everything that he did. And I don't think I think to be at that level, you have to have a lot of thought in what it is. But his consideration was, how it would affect the group, and how it would, any painstaking measures to be able to get to that. But he was very successful, and we had a very good culture because of that. I think Chris in Nazareth, I know, talking with my daughter, they'll have the girls will go to him and say, you can't say that to us. You can't talk to us that way. And then he'll be like, yeah, no, you're right. And then he'll adjust. So I always think, this is nothing new. I think coaching is very much a partnership, and it's become more so that, it's not hard. You just look at any NHL timeout for the most part, and the players have a huge, and they're the top players. They have a huge say a lot of times in what's going on. Like, you can see there's a very much an interaction, and that's going on between the coach. But yeah, I would say that for me, and again, I coach both the boys and the girls. It's very, very different in the way that they learn, and in the way that they, that you communicate with them. But I still think the common underlying theme is that there has to be, there has to be that give and take, and that for them to be able to feel that they can give some input as to what is ultimately going on. But looks very different. I will concede that it looks very, very different from the boys to the girls in the way you do that. But
Tom, the term emotional intelligence, what are your thoughts on that relative to coaching?
Yeah, I think, I don't think you'll last very long if you don't have it. I think, I think it's just having an awareness of the people around you, and how they contribute to what you're doing, and being able to include everybody, and and to have a sense, again, it's very, very, I mean, it's, I mean, you guys all know, you guys coached for a lot longer than I have. It's very, very difficult to be able to try to meld multiple personalities together. But I think that's, that to me is the hardest part, is try to get the best out of everyone, try to get their best. So I think to be able to understand that, the fine line between being able to be a leader and to be able to have a direction, but to be able to have the input of everyone to be able to go the right way is, is to me what most intelligence is. Maybe it's, that's what I think it is.
Well, the two words that come to my mind, Dom, and your daughter, and where she's chosen to go, and the relationship and with the coach, the two words that are essential to emotional intelligence are trust and respect. And it sounds like that's happening for your daughter, and she's playing, and you're a hockey knowledgeable guy. And so the choice that's made and the idea of appreciating that, you value it and understand its importance. And I'm sure your daughter grew up valuing that more than anything, because you've seen it all relative to different coaches, entering at the community level out there in Stockton, and looking at different people whose egos were off the wall and they were demanding, and it was my way or the highway. I don't know if that's a problem anymore, but I certainly don't see it in our association. The coaching staffs I watch are unbelievable. There's a great relationship with players. Trust and respect is evident in my mind, but that's what I sort of hear from you.
Yeah.
Somebody's got some background noise there. Who is it?
Oh, that's probably me. My apologies. I'm in the athletic office, and I've got so.
That's in your office.
My apologies. Yeah. Well, yeah. Hold on. Let me close the door here. Hold on.
It's no big deal. Yeah.
Great to have Dom on again. He was on a heck of a lot a few years ago when he was coaching with the Flames and assisting, and then he moved down to Stockton. And I worked with him in minor hockey a lot, but we grew up knowing each other. So welcome back, Dom. How is your overall program going? Are you still head coaching guys and girls?
Unfortunately, I am. Yeah. Yeah, it's and I have more help. I think, as our program grows, the problems change, right? I think initially we're just looking for numbers, and trying to promote what makes us different from club hockey. And so, now this year on the boys, we've got 21 boys. We've got 15 girls that go to the school. And so the way the rostering works down here is a little bit different. We're able to double roster. We're considered, on the girls' side, considered high school girls. You can be rostered on a tier team, and you can be rostered on a high school team. So we're able to fill in some of our gaps with some of the local tier players, which we eventually hope will come to our program. On the boys' side, we're pure. We've everybody that's on the team goes to the school, and that to me is what separates us from the other club hockey. And it's very, very new here in California in regards to the type of program that we're trying to have. There's a couple. They're actually the guys from that used to run NAX up in Edmonton is now running a program down in Southern California, and trying the same. And so obviously California is an expensive state, and the biggest issue is ice and trying to get ice. So we don't have that problem here in Stockton. I think part of our our challenge is a little bit reputation, to be just perfectly honest with you. If you Google Stockton and you look it up, it's it's not a great reputation for the city of Stockton, which is having been here now, worked here since 2015, almost 10 years. It's living in California. Like there's pockets, there's good pockets, and there's not so desirable pockets, and so you just have to kind of know where to manage, and that's holds true for the whole state, not just the small area that we're in. So as I say, problems change as you start to grow, and the problems now is trying to find, for me, is really trying to hone in on our program ourselves. When you called me, Wally, we work out 4 days a week before school, and trying to work with the school to be able to get the first period as our ice time, because right now we practice right after school, which is great, which is much better than the club teams that practice at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So that's one of the advantages. But it's trying to get the right people that are involved, like from the people. And again, the challenge that I have, to be honest, is like why are you coming here? Why are you coming here to our program? If you're coming here just for the hockey, it's not. Yeah, I suggest that you don't. For me, it's the holistic approach to the school, the hockey, what enables you to be able to come to 7 a.m. workouts, right? You just can't. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to 7 a.m. workouts. I'm going to go to bed at midnight. It doesn't work out that way. And so, but you have to have a certain amount of commitment and a certain desire to be able to want to do that. I think, unfortunately, there's some parents that just look at the hockey side and not so much don't support on the educational side. And I mean that's a little bit of the challenge. But those challenges are better to have than just trying to fill a roster like we were last year, even the year before. So,
how much is the school and the academic standards and the philosophy helping you with your athletes? Because it sounds like that's a key factor of how you're operating.
And I'll be honest, it weeds out the kids pretty quick, to be honest. I think unfortunately we've had a couple of our better players that weren't able to meet the academic standards, and it made themselves ineligible. The school has been very, very supportive in trying to help them along academically. And, if at the end of the day, if the student doesn't choose to put in the time, if the parents don't support that, then it's going to be very, very difficult for there to be any type of accountability on the school side. And so for me, the girls and boys that have the parent support, I mean, I guess that it goes with anything, but the parent support and finding value in the school piece and making sure that they do the things necessary to give them the best chance to succeed. Again, that's the type of program that we want to have, and we're it's to answer your question, it's been very, very helpful to be able to have that academic standard, that that accountability, because to be able to practice at 7 a.m, be able to get the work that they're giving you, and to be able to kind of rinse and repeat that, be on the ice 5 days a week, there has to be a certain amount of discipline. And I say this to the kids from the beginning. I'm like, it needs to be a choice. It can't be a sacrifice. If you feel that it's going to be a sacrifice to come here and there's other things that you're missing out on, it's probably not the program for you. You have to choose to want to have these development opportunities to then be able to how that works for you. So that's as I say, like, we've finally gotten to the point where we've gotten the critical mass where we have the numbers where now it's like people will call, and if their first question isn't about the school, then it's a longer conversation on how that it's a big part of being a part of our program. And I see the two girls that have graduated. As I say, my daughter has done extremely well because of the standard that she had to hold up to, and the amount of time management that she had to figure out as far as her years here. The other girl is going at RIT. She's doing really well as like hockey wise, and I'm not sure on her school, but she was a 4.0 grade here, so I don't anticipate it being any different. But it's really prepared them for that. As I say, it's unfortunate that some don't see the value of the school side of it, but it directly relates of, if they're going to be able to handle the academic and the athletic vigor that is going to be in college. So I've been pretty pleased so far, but as I say, it's unfortunate a couple of them just haven't been able to.
Peter, I'm going to let you ask your question or bring it with your hand up, but down the road, Dom, I'd love to have your daughter's head coach and you on to talk about what we've talked about relative to recruitment, just for the sake of parent understanding and appreciation and young players. It was unbelievable, but down the road, Peter might be able to be involved in that and get involved, knowing now that we know that you guys know each other. But Peter, go ahead, your hands up.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't gloss over a great point that Dominic made about players making a choice versus considering it a sacrifice. You get to play the greatest game there is out there, in my opinion. And if you think that you have to sacrifice to play it, then I think you're looking at it wrong. 100% to his point about, like, you made a choice. Like, you get to do something great, and you're choosing to do things that will make you better and give you a better experience. I don't see how that's a sacrifice. I think choice is exactly the perfect word to use for that. So I didn't want that to be glossed over. I think that's a huge point.
Dom, I'm trying to interpret that. Like, I'm thinking of myself. Sacrifice was never something I felt. I never gave up anything. I just went and did it. It was great. And the idea of sacrificing is sort of the reason for what you choose to do. What do you want to do it? Why do you want to do it? So you got to know where you're going and your direction, your sense of perspective. And I don't know if you've had that picture on your wall behind you very long, but I did take note of it. But can you read that to us again, Dom?
Yeah, a coach will impact more young people in a year than the average person does in a lifetime. It was actually a gift. It was a gift from one of the players last year. One of the parents and they had grabbed a bunch of pictures of my kids, myself and my wife and the team, and yeah, it's a phenomenal gift. But yeah, it's the message. I think we all are probably doing what we do because we, at some way, shape, or form, believe in what that message is.
Well, Dom, I've got to tell you the story. You might be aware of this, but years ago, Tom and I are mentoring in Cochrane. I'm working for P3 Sports out there, and you've been out there, and you know the setup. But I went to a bit of a banquet with it was a wrestling banquet because they have a great wrestling program in Cochrane at the arena where they have all the equipment. And I used to take the U12 athletes down there and their parents and participate with the wrestling coaches. But when I went to the banquet, it was a fundraiser. And there was a wood carving with the quote you have on your back wall. I outbid everybody for it. It went up to $150, but it was worth it. And it's hanging in the office with Ryan Hilderman at P3 Sports. And as you know, the middle P of three, the three Ps is perspective. And really, that's sort of what we're talking about here. Is you asked Tom, what are you doing? What you're doing? Why are you doing it?
Well, you mean the coaching?
Yourself, yeah, you're still coaching.
I enjoy doing it, and it's really nice to work with my son. And and I think, like you say, you can impact a lot of people. Like right now, I posted a few things from midget AAA team, and I'm watching, and it was one of the first midget AAA teams I coached. And I'm looking here, and I think 6 or 7 of these girls got scholarships, either to Canadian universities, Div 3, and I think one went Div 1 in NCAA, just on this one team. So you can help people out quite a bit, and I think the two of us, and we have a lot to offer because being in it a long time, taking the time to learn stuff, and that's why I do it.
I think it's a perfect time to bring up John Wooden's point. I think it was after his 15th national championship, and they caught him outside the room, and the press said, "What do you think of your team? What they've accomplished?" And his answer was, "Ask me in 25 years."
Oh, exactly. I just got a neat text from Cassie. Cassie Campbell helps me coach, and they had the AAA's had I'm coaching the U15s.
Yeah.
The U18 coach had my players practice after our practice on Tuesday. So her daughter scored a goal, and she took a little video of it. And she said she scored at U18 AAA practice, and we also worked on angling and whatever. She said she loved it. Told me she got a lot of confidence from it and needs to bring that to our team. Like her daughter just decided she wanted to be a player. I coached her in U13, and she whatever. And when she didn't make our team last year, she asked her parents to put her in skating and stuff and that in the morning. And she's really, really improved. And now, now she wants to do what she needs to do to become a player. And I think that's what we want, right, Dom?
Yeah. It's as I say, it's the switch, and it's funny with girls. And again, I just, from my personal experience, it seems to switch it around one way or the other, like 13, 14, 15, around that age.
Yeah.
Where they either like they go all in, or they're like, I'm not really interested in. Yeah, I mean, it's as you say, it comes down to like what Peter had pointed out. It's like I choose to be able to do this. Like, this is the greatest game in the world, like he said, and I get this opportunity, and I get all these opportunities to make myself better. Like that's ultimately it, right? And that's the ones that get better. And I think I like I say that at my opening like barbecue type thing, and it's more so like for parents to be able to understand, like if you're having to tell your kid, oh, you have to do this, you have to go to this morning workout, you have to this, no, this, that's, and everything else, then you've got to ask yourself, like, are they, like, who's it for, right?
Yeah.
And so that's, and again, like you gotta, like, I've had to have some hard conversations with some parents when they say, they come into my office after their senior year and they're like, well, we want to put them to, they give me a list of all these D1 schools on the boys side, and they're just like, we want to go, like, can you call these teams for me? And I'm like, okay, wait, time out. Like, your son doesn't do any extra when there's the option of because there's always times when you've during exam week, or when there's down weeks, you like optional practices, he never comes to them, right? There's again, like, you have to ask yourself, who is this for? Like, who is the one that's motivated to put in the work, right? So I'm sure it's prevalent, whether it's either side of the border. It's like the parents sometimes.
And you got to watch who you recommend too.
Well,
Because if
yeah,
you're
well,
just telling
yeah,
everybody all come,
yeah,
because we have that right now. There's about going to a sports school and our probably least committed player. And
yeah,
we're really having trouble saying, yeah, because like I think maybe she's playing for other people, not for herself. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
It doesn't take
No,
much to miss practice and games. And
no, but and I guess from my side with the program that we're running here, I want to know, like, if you can get through the program and you can make the commitment to be able to be at the early morning practices, and you're like, we've got shooting areas, and you're constantly asking me to do things and do extra, I'll have no problem putting you anywhere. I'll call anybody, right? Like, but
yeah,
if it's twisting your arm and there's always an excuse to, well, I've got this and I can't and this and that, like, I'm not going to recommend you. I'm not going to suggest that, and because I've got a couple girls that are very like from a skill perspective, from an on ice ability. Yeah. Like, I've had coaches ask me about it, but I have a really hard time saying, yeah, this is a person that's going to get better, because I know she's not doing the things to get better under me. So why all of a sudden is now she's going to be away from her parents in a situation where I don't know that, and so I just say I question her commitment. I'm just honest. I question her commitment, and I
have
feel
a thought.
I feel bad, but
well, my thought is, no matter what, you vote with your feet. You can
yeah,
say the right thing, right?
yeah,
But do you show up?
yeah,
And
yeah. No,
you know,
actions, right?
and
Yeah, absolutely.
if they don't, I mean, you can say everybody knows what to say in a certain situation.
Yeah. And that's funny you say that, because I've had some conversations with some of the kids in regards to, because you're right, everybody knows what to say. They're so conditioned, right? They come in and they're apologizing, they have exactly the right things to say. And I just stop them. I said, show me, right? Show me by, well, what do you mean show me? Yeah, show me that you're on time. Show me that you're early on time. Show me with your actions that you're committed. Don't tell me how committed you are. Don't tell me how much you want to do it. Show me what you show, because I promise you, when you go somewhere, like I was telling Sophia with Chris's team, they had 30 girls when they went there this year, and she was worried she wasn't going to play. She was concerned she wasn't going to play. And so I just said, every day you show up, you do the right things. And I said, you don't be worried about what anybody else does. You show up on time, you show up ahead of time, you do the extra, you do it for yourself. And I said, he'll take note. A good coach will note the small things that you're doing, right? Like he has, and he's smart. He's very, very smart. He's done it a long time. He'll have optional meetings with the coach. Optional. It's your option. You can come if you want. And he said, some girls don't come. And she, because they're probably afraid of what is going to be said, right? But I said to her, I said, it's very, very smart, because if they're afraid that he's going to be truthful with them as why they're not playing, if you're not able to hear why you're not playing, then you can't argue why you're not playing. And so, I think that there's something to that in regards to what you do some of the time is what you do all the time. I mean, it's very cliche and it's been said a lot, but I think it holds so true with being able to prepare girls for our boys or whatever for hockey, just for setting up with the best chance of success. Because ultimately, how many are going to go on? Who knows, right? I don't know what the extra they're doing. I don't know what if they're watching video. Like I don't know that, right? But yeah, show with your actions. I think that's, to me, that's the simplest thing you can do, right?
Yeah.
Dom, I'm listening to you. It's amazing, because we have an elite hockey program, girls hockey, Calgary, starting at U13. And I'm not sure many of them are elite in terms of showing you. and doing the right things all the time in a unquestionable, consistent fashion. And like you said, some of them may not, from U13, even want to play more because they've learned this year the commitment and the sacrifice in their lives is something. It's very hard to do anything else. But so my concern, and Tom's, I'm sure, as a teacher in high school and junior high, it's just coaching in sports in general, not whether they made a team or not and went up the next level. A lot did, you know. That wasn't my reason for coaching. In a high school setting in particular, tied in with the education, I'm more concerned with what they do when they leave school and they're learning their lives. And my story, which isn't about elite athletes, and I've had Olympic wrestlers that I've coached in junior high, but this was a wrestler that, a story that's worth telling because of the perspective of sport. In a high school I was working in, I constantly recruited kids for wrestling. And I used to patrol the hallways for the kids that were like under 125 pounds, under 100 pounds, because those low weight categories, you could get more competition and win more medals and be more competitive. And I badgered this one kid for a year, all year. And finally he came out. And he put in his 2-3 years, whatever it was. And I never thought anything of it. I don't know where he went or what he did with his life. He never won a championship or got an accolade or anything. But I love one-on-one coaching because you don't put in the effort, you're on your back. You got to learn about yourself and your courage. You got to master some biomechanical, physiological, fitness kind of things. So he worked hard at it. And it's 15 years later, I'm in Montreal coaching the women's oval team, playing an exhibition game against the Montreal team. I get a phone call. I'm at my hotel. It's this guy calling, Mr. Kozak. I see your team's in town. Can I come and meet you after the game? And I said, sure. Well, what are you doing here? He says, well, I'm doing the sound for the Montreal Forum. I handle the sound system here. And I said, well, look, I'll be love to see you after the game. So the game is over. I come out and meet this guy who was like a 90-pound kid. And I think the highest weight class he wrestled at was 135 before he left school. Now he's about 6'1" and big and looking normal. And he thanked me for badgering him to come out wrestling and said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. And he recognized that all the time he put in at doing something to discover, what his level of competition was going to be and how hard he'd work, that's more rewarding than a kid that makes the NHL. Because he came up how many years after and said, thank you, which, you've experienced. And I look at the sign on your wall, it's a tribute to doing things the right way for the right reason. And it's not that we don't want them to achieve their goals, but to do it, it's their choice. If they choose to do the right things to the degree they need to, they'll accomplish their goals. It's really important. So I'm so glad you got on, Dom. Anything to add to Peter? Tom?
Well, I think one of the things, and you quoted John Wooden a little bit ago. Nick Saban, right, who made his career at Alabama. One of the things that he had mentioned that has stuck with me, and honestly trying to now pass that on to my grandson a little bit, is there's a difference between spending your time and investing your time when you're an athlete. And it's kind of fun now to kind of play that little game with my grandson. I'll say, give me a situation where you're investing your time. And he'll say, well, I did push-ups today. And I said, okay, why is that investing your time? Because he's just starting to play hockey. He's 7. So he said, because that'll make me stronger. It'll make my shot better too. I said, okay, give me an idea about spending your time. Well, like when I'm on my screens. So he's already understanding the difference. And I think that's something that collegiately, I'm hoping moving forward, some of these guys that are playing and girls that are playing now will understand that once you understand the difference between spending your time. Yeah, I practice every single day. Well, do you just go to practice and go through the motions, or do you invest your time and try to work on a skill that you know you need to get better? So that point that he made, I just love that. I just think it's a good forum to bring that up and to mention that, because once you can get players bought into investing their time versus spending their time, I think you could end up with something pretty special.
That's a good one.
Peter, I want to make a point. Thomas Pacina brought this up. It totally relates to what you've said. He calls it extreme focus. Investment of time and the effort you put in requires you to be dialed in. It's pretty hard to dial in for a practice. So he had a small group of professional players he was working with. He had the drill he was going to do, and he would have them sit on the bench, talk about the drill and what its purpose was, and visualize themselves doing it and why they were doing it, and then go out and do the drill. And he felt that sacrificing one or two of his drills during his hour plan was more valuable. You doing that exercise before you went out and did a drill, you just sort of push through. They need a reminder once in a while to, hey, let's dial in here. Let's close our eyes. Let's think about what we're doing, how we're doing it, what we can do better. Let's get more committed to focusing on the effort and the technique we want. I've tried it once with a skills group, and it was like night and day. And this was with a group of major junior 6 kids that were good players who were working on a competitive scoring, outnumbered drill. And, they were doing okay, but then I brought them to the bench and we just talked about the drill and all the elements within it and how they could execute better, and to think about that and put their minds to the exercise, and away they went, and it was like night and day. And it's not that it lasts forever, but it's just educating the importance of listening, focusing, self-awareness, and application.
Right. Well, I think the last several minutes here that we've been talking, I think really what we're talking about, and this is kind of one of the fun things about coaching, right? Because, we're not talking about, hey, this is what I do on the power play, or this is how I make a penalty kill. We're talking about the basic root of success is your ability to manage people. Your ability to manage people, that's what makes you a successful coach. That's what this all comes down to, what we're talking about, right? You can go on and you can find the best power play in the world, and you can create little robots if you want, but your ability to manage people that will understand everything you're talking about, like the sign that Dom has up there, like the players have to understand that as well, right? That they're part of something special. They have to understand, like I say, that difference between investing your time and spending your time, the choice, right, versus sacrifice. Once you can teach that, and I think everybody here can do that because, you've all got the pedigrees, right? Because in history of having done that, that's one of the best things we can pass on to anybody listening who are coaches is I'd much rather get caught up in this, what we're talking about, than what power play or penalty kill, because that's for me, right? I think everybody here, that's not hard. It's not hard to figure out how to play, straight lines on a penalty kill, don't turn your back, when to go, when not to go. All that stuff is fairly rudimentary, but this is really what becomes a success or not success for a player and or a coach. I mean, that's just kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I've had coaches that were organized to like every detail was down, and the culture of the team wasn't great, but it wasn't a case of them not having everybody understanding what they needed to do in regards to, whether it's like you say, power play or penalty kill or forecheck or neutrals or whatever it is. And the ability to be able to have, as you said, to manage people, the ability to be able to have, and they say it's buy-in, and so in a sense it is, but yeah, just to have, but it needs to be like the collective of everybody. Like, and that was the thing, like these organizations and like the teams, like you've got, trainer, like everybody from the strength coach to the equipment guy, like everybody has to be kind of pushing and pulling in the same way. And, I can think about the Flames, like their strength coaches. I'm good buddies with the strength coach in Calgary. I lived with him during COVID when they brought the farm team up there. This guy is off the charts. And again, like there was guys that in his position prior that were they had their masters in kinesiology, like they had like an unbelievable wealth of knowledge in regards to the physiology of the body. But as far as being able to create the environment in the gym and be able to have the players wanting to be there, it was, there was guys that wanted to fight some of the guys that were there prior, right? And again, but it was such a key component of what we're talking about, the relationship. So, I think, again, from afar watching, and I've talked to some guys a little bit with the Flames, but the fact that the guy that I work with, Kale, and the strength coach that are there, like these guys are really, really aware of their surroundings and aware of how they treat people. And it's not surprising that they've had some success, because I think that they're huge components of that. What makes a successful organization or a successful team is that piece, like you're talking about, not just, yes, the other X and O's, if you will. So
I just Googled the word invest, and it's all about for a definition. But I think the definitions I've Googled aren't adequate to describe what we're saying and what that word means. But it's so true. Like, you do what you do, you take it seriously. Like all of us, we love the game. We're invested in the good of the game. And it consumes our lives in a good way. And like Dom, you brought up the strength coach. Here's a guy in an organization who's committed. He gets it. He does what elite athletes have to appreciate. He walks the talk. So it's so important for coaches, trainers, staff, your organization to be invested in the purpose of what you're all doing together. The bottom line in a sport is getting the athletes to dial in better, perform a little better, get to the next level, and taking moments to play with their level of concentration out of practice. I think it's a worthwhile thing to try. So, Dom, you got ice time, I'm sure, in the next 2 days, and think about it in one of your drills. Waste a drill for the sake of another drill that you want to see how much they get out of it. compromise your overall plan for the idea of coaching effort, focus, and better performance. So just an idea. Dom, I'm so glad you could get on. How are you for next week, Dom? Because I'd sure love to get Peter to call that head coach and see if we can make a connection and create a formal.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I'd love to. What day are you thinking, Wally?
So, Peter, would you be able to get a hold of him, or should I have Dom get a hold of him, or me if you want to give me his contact info?
Oh, I got more ammunition than either one of you. So
that's true. Yeah.
I'm more than happy to do it. If I'm sure Dom will attest, Chris is a pretty organized guy, right? So pretty structured. So if you give me an idea of what the options are, then, time-wise and day-wise, I mean, obviously day-wise Thursdays, I guess, but time-wise, I can see where his schedule's at because, the simple matter of things like, don't know if there'll be a recruit on campus, those kinds of things. So if I know what the time frame is, I can relate that to him and see if we can't make that happen.
Okay, well, our time frame. Dom, you had meetings. We can go later anytime in this situation.
Yes. So you're typically at what 8:30 Calgary time on Thursday? Is that when you and so that's so we have workout in the morning until 8:00 here. So that'd be 9:00. 9:00 Mountain Time. So I'd be available around the same time that I came in here today. So
what time did you pop on? I wasn't paying attention.
I think probably like around 9:15, I think, probably, or 9, or what time is it? Is it or 8:50? I guess it would be 9:15 your time, I would think, right?
So are you Mountain Time an hour behind me? Or are you 3 hours?
Yeah.
You're 3 hours, right? Because
I'm in California. Yep. I'm in California.
Okay.
What time are you, Peter?
Is there right now?
I'm 10:30 right now.
Yeah, 9:30. I'm 9:30 right now.
So you're 9:30. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we see if he can go for 9:00 next week, and we can talk until Dom joins us. But I'm pretty good at asking questions to get people to express themselves and their areas of expertise. It's amazing, Dom, having you on and what you've done 10 years in the program and how it's growing and how it's evolved and what you've brought it to is just amazing. But this takes it to another level when your daughter, playing for a coach you respect and she respects, are working together. And I think it's only going to help the game because it seems like we're doing things for the same reason, the right reason, with the same goals in mind. And it's not just winning the game or the championship, or it's being the best you can be and getting something out of the experience. You're working with student athletes, you guys. They're all students and they're all athletes. They're not pros. And the girls now have a chance to play pro. So, Dom, that zoo. It's it's a little different, and coaches have to deal with egos now on the female side more than before. But it's all connected. Sports is the same, and I don't think people understand the value of it and what it can do for people. So anyway, I'm just about out of time here. Dom, thank you for calling back. So good to meet you. We'll see what we can cook up for next Thursday, Peter.
Okay.
Yeah, I will do. Good to meet you. Pleasure.
Yeah. Great to meet you as well.
It was great seeing you, Dom.
I came on. Yeah, good seeing you, Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm heading out, so have a good practice, Tom.
Yeah, well,